Welcome back to my brief World of Tanks overview of the German tanks that I have played so far, and it's brief is becoming a fleeting comment because I find myself talking more and more about the vehicle the higher and higher tiers I get. So I'm going to try my best here to mix two tanks together here in this last review of German vehicles that I have played so far. Um, so without further ado, let's jump right on in. This is the VK3001P. A lot of people hate it, and I could see why on some aspects. You're a medium tank, but you're a relatively fast medium tank. You are a fast flanker. That's what this is. A fast flanker, first and foremost. It does not have the armor to battle or brawl. It does not. Yeah, I just, when I first got this tank, I hated every second of it. It's until my crew, which I took from my Panzer III-4, which I eventually sold, and then threw them in here, became well, where they are right now at 80% trained on all of them, makes an impact on how the tank plays. Um, what I mean by that is, you may be at 110% or whatever it is, but that changes, and it changes significantly when you're almost done with your first crew skill here. I have repairs on all mine right now going. Um, but I have noticed a significant speed increase. I mean, this thing is just, for its size, for literally, how heavy is this thing? Weight, 38.7 ton tank. This thing is just flying around really quick, more so than it did than stock or fully upgraded. Something has changed. Either Wargaming has changed something on it, but I remember specifically this thing being a friggin' slug. This thing could hardly move, and it was like, oh god, just shoot me. Am I there yet? Kill me. I'll give the enemy my location so they can kill me. It was slow. It was painful. And because it was slow, I had the impression that it was a heavy tank. Not really a heavy tank, but it could take a shot or two, and it really can't. I occasionally may bounce a shot here or there, but it's really not meant to be battling like that, you know, alongside medium other heavies, possibly, but from a distance. But your main goal here is to zip around the side of a tank and get to it. You stop moving, you're pretty much dead. You should only stop moving. I know this sounds contradictory what I just said, but the only time you should stop moving is to shoot a target and then just get your ass in gear, get out of there, and keep going. Ramming in this, poor idea unless you're ramming a light tank or something that has very little armor. You're not going to be ramming OIs or OI experimentals in this. I mean, that's suicide right there. Other than that, as you can tell, I'm thinking about keeping the vehicle. I might, because I'm liking how the performance is actually going with the vehicle, you know? It seems to be increasing more and more and more the more crew is trained here. The more it's trained, it seems like everything is working better, faster, more sufficient. And I like that. And I'll be honest with you, if I have to wait until 80% of my first skill is upgraded to that point to get better speed, better reload, better traverse, all this stuff, I really don't want to keep playing. It's too much of a hassle. The jump is just not the jump, but the grind is awful. I don't put 100% crew in my tanks. I never will. Unless if they're trained from something else, I just dump them in. Like on my B2, I'm ultimately going to take those guys and dump them in my Tiger P. That's assuming if I want to keep my Tiger P, and I'll be getting to that in this video too, but in a little bit. I'm just talking about here about the Tiger P. But yeah, I mean, the grind for your crew to start getting better to actually affect what the tank can do is 80% on the first crew skill. I started at 75. I remember what it used to be versus what it is now. I can't imagine what having 3 crew skills is going to be like. I can't imagine how fast this thing is going to go. It says it's top speed. Where the heck is it here? Speed. Top speed of 60. That's pretty freaking fast for the size of this tank. And though it's really slow backing up at 20. You don't want to back up. Make your arc drive around if you need to go around somewhere. Don't back up. It's kind of like that whole German mentality of blitzkrieg fighting style of forward, forward, forward. Faster, faster, faster. Don't back up. Trust me, the Germans started backing up at the end of World War II. They stepped in a big pile of Soviet trouble. But what I suggest is if you're going for the Tiger P, you don't have a choice in the matter. If you want nothing to do with the tank, stop at Tier 5 with a Panzer IV-H. Is the gun okay? It's okay. One thing I do have to point out, yes, this is the Tiger 1's main armament on this. That's the main gun. And I'll tell you right now, I hated it. And I still hate it. I think it's overwhelmingly horrible. It's not good enough for what the tank itself. I mean, World War II, everyone was fearful of the Tiger, and for good reason. The thing had a tremendous muzzle velocity when the gun fired, and the impact. Everything was fearful of it. The tank could shoot from very far distances away, and we all know as shells travel at distances, the penetration decreases. But the one thing about the Tiger tanks 88 was the fact that the velocity was so damn strong, it kept the speed going. So that means the distance was covered faster versus, let's say, an HE round, which would slowly arc its way over. But still in the game, it's too slow. It's not damaging enough. Alright, how I have this thing is decked out here, gun rammer, gun laying drive, and improved vents. One could argue possibly coated optics since you want to be moving more and it's got the speed to do it, possibly. Camo, absolutely not. This is a moving tank, fast-moving medium. You want to help the heavies, you can. Oh, one thing I do have to point out, do not sit there and listen to people say, angle your armor. This is a devastating mistake. You angle right here, this piece right here is straight flat. Right now, you look straight ahead, you have a perfect angle on that piece. Possible bounce, possible, depending on what's shooting you. Again, that's not thick enough to save your ass. I mean, this is the same thickness as the Tiger 1's armor right here. And again, at this angle, this is 100. Yes, it is. But you turn it like this, it's really 100. At an angle, you get more of an edge. Now, I chose this line to get to the Tiger P. I did my research. I watched the videos that Quickie Baby put up, Jingles, and everyone else. They're saying this tank has significantly better armor than the Tiger 1. You can take shots. In a sense, this thing is a brawler for the Germans. But there's a big but here. You have a weakness. The lower plate right here, highly susceptible to shots. Very, very bad. You angle your armor. Remember that angle on the VK3001P? It's right there. There it is again. And guess what? I'm willing to bet that's not bolted on armor like you see right here. This is a 200 millimeters of armor. Right here, straight on this and this. You're going to need a really good gun to penetrate that. This is not. The side is not. That's 80 on the sides. I'm guessing it maybe 100, maybe, and I'm pushing it. It could be considered side as well. One thing I have to say, later on, it gets a better gun. It gets the long 88, which, if this tank actually did exist, which there's a whole story about the Tiger 1 and the Tiger P, the battle between Henschel and Porsche. And it's actually quite entertaining, those who are into the history of tanks. But if you're just playing this for fun and you really don't care, you don't have to pay attention to that. But the gun, the long 88, never was mounted on either the Tiger or the Tiger 1 or this one, even though this is fictional, a piece of it's not, I shouldn't say fictional, it's not really seen combat and whatnot like the Tiger 1 has. The long 88, which is mounted here, it's good. I've had a few good penetrating shots with it, but it's lacking. It's just not good enough to be dealing with like IS-3s and whatnot. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about here. And it's that matchmaking again. I kept very close track. Out of 100 games, I literally had 3. It's 3 to 5 games, relatively speaking. 3 to 5 games that were just putting me within a tier 7 or tier 8 game. Everything else has been tier 9. That's like 95% of my matches have been fighting tier 9s. I mean, pushing a tank to its limit is ridiculous, but come on. 95% of your matches are tier freaking 9? You can't deal with fighting those odds. Your gun's good, but not compared to dealing with tier 9 tanks. Good lord, you're fighting Tiger 2s. You're fighting stuff from the freaking Cold War, and everyone knows it's not a fair battle. It's far from fair. And I was absolutely sick and tired of driving this thing around almost stock against tier 9s. It's a nightmare. If I keep this tank, which I don't know if I want to because of the fact that I'm always seeing tier 9s, and then the gun's not good enough, and nor is the armor. Even angling, I mean, come on. You might bounce a random shot here or there, but angling, you're opening your whole side up right here. This whole side's wide open, and those tier 9s will easily cut right through that. Another weak point is this cupola. Shoot right down through. If I were to keep this, I would put a gun laying drive, definitely. Vents, definitely. And gun rammer. It's about the gun. I mean, that's it. And have I mentioned this thing is friggin' slow? All that heavy armor and all that. This thing is slow. It's painfully slow. I don't know how the ground resistances are, but no. No, thank you. I don't know if I want to keep this tank or not, or just go to the next retrain a crew or something. And I don't know. It's up in the air. It's been such a hit miss with this thing, but unfortunately more miss than hits. And I'm not talking about hitting targets. I'm talking about enjoying it, and that's what it's down to, is the enjoyment. If you're not enjoying it, stop playing it.